I click links to the alternative video platforms. There's a little bit less censorship on Odysee and Bit Chute, or join the Gab Discord, support the channel with the links below. So the current state of liberal-run cities. People are wondering why the looting is just out of control. Well, look at the mayors, the city councils, and the district attorneys, and the school boards, too. That's very, very important. If you want to brainwash people, it's good to get them young. That's at the city level, and then look at the governors and legislators at the state level. So let's take a look at Boudin, the district attorney of San Francisco, who is a catch and release DA. Now, the solution is the situation is such that even the San Francisco liberals are seeing all this crime unfold. And I talked about in the earlier videos, she calls the cops because she sees somebody breaking into her car or house. And then it slowly dawns on the average San Francisco liberal, Bay Area liberal, LA, whoever, they realize that, oh, nobody's coming. Calling the cops and like paying for services, nobody's coming. It's like, oh, this is why all those right-wing people are all like friends with Smith & Wesson and Glock, because you're your own police. Maybe you form like a neighborhood watch, which might slowly morph into a militia, and that's like the second line of defense, but you and a Springfield XD with a little flashlight on the thing are you're your first line of defense. You and Mr. 45 230 grain. That's the only thing that stops you from somebody coming in and doing whatever they want with you. So your average California liberal or just liberal anywhere in America in these blue cities, they start seeing all this stuff, crime, and the city is ignoring it, even seems to encourage it by sort of blaming white people for everything and excusing POCs for everything. So you got the liberal who's paying taxes for a functioning civilization, but then she sees her city devolve into pretty much Brazil. She sees this juxtaposition of the media ignoring looting on one hand and massive amounts of violent crime also, and focus on like a Karen dropping an N-bomb or being a dog walker or just being some jerk off. But we're talking about like comparing someone who's saying words to very real crimes, not just a Karen calling an N-word, and it's like that makes national news, but two people in Chicago a day being murdered doesn't make national news. It seems a deck chairs on the Titanic to worry about, some dog walker type of situation, or the barbecue lady who saw the guy who was dumping coals out, like quality of life issues. It seems weird that they blow that up. Or how they lied about Kyle Rittenhouse on January 6th. They see Biden and they realize that they elected a guy who has got dementia and he's not running the show, and his cabinet is running the show. And like you look at his cabinet, you realize, oh, these are all scumbags. And, possibly it might just be possible that the media lied perhaps about Trump, because it seems like they lied about everything. So a lot of liberals are under this awakening from this big lie. The media is basically run by lizard people who hate white people, and the cities are crap, and we'll get into that in a second. The Weather Underground is his parents were part of it. I'll get into it. So how do you get this like current peak Weimar situation? You look at the mayors of Oakland, San Francisco, or the DAs. Boudin, he's a globalist whose parents were part of the Weather Underground. It was a Jewish terrorist organization. It's a wrong thing to say for YouTube, but it's not a hyperbolic statement. It's just a statement of fact. Globalists destroy nations. It's like the greatest trick the globalists pulled was in gaslighting people into thinking that they were just normal people. They're like, they mimic the animal that they feed off of. They're like vampires. So the liberals in California voted for globalists whose goal is to destroy America, which they have been doing very successfully. It takes time. It takes time to do so, but they've been doing this for 100 years. The only white pill for us is we've got social media, and cell phones. And so like people like me, people like you, we can all get this message out there. This is what they voted for, even though a lot of it may be inadvertent. But this is what they're putting in office. There's no successful multicultural society. Brazil is the most diverse place on earth, and it is a crime-ridden hellhole. Diversity was never a strength. It was always weakness. Doesn't it seem odd that America doesn't have a southern border, that the demographics have changed so fast, and that America is turning into the third world? But still they flood across the borders and get on welfare in a sanctuary city, and like these, who was the Libby Schaaf, the mayor of Oakland, was handed out money, $500 to everyone in Oakland but white people. You go, wait, doesn't that violate federal law? Yeah, it probably does, but like, white people don't advocate for themselves. They don't have their own political action committees. They don't have caucuses. They don't have groups. They don't advocate. There's no white advocacy group. Like the ADL's got a defamation league. Like there's no European advocacy group. And there needs to be. So you've got something like that in Oakland. Like, this clearly violates federal laws. It's like, well, how are we going to get together and get funding to challenge this? It's like, oh, if we can't do that, it just goes through. It's like, that violates federal law. And that's a Libby Schaaf. It seems like it should be more of an issue in the media. And it's like, oh, well, who controls the media? Oh, it's the same globalists that control a lot of these big tech companies. Oh, anyway, so Brazil, a shithole. Diversity was never a strength. It was always a weakness. Doesn't it seem weird that America looks basically like Mexico now? Doesn't it seem like the globalists are actively destroying the nation? Yeah, well, you got situations like this where you have this guy's parents, literally members of a terrorist organization, where they talked about whether or not it was better for the nation to kill white babies because they're going to grow up to be the oppressors. I guess this guy looks like who was that guy? Richard Ramirez. I don't know, he was not the Zodiac, that was Berkowitz. Ramirez was the Trailside guy, so I think he was a California guy also. Anyway, it's like, when you vote in these people, well, not him, but like, he's come from a line of globalist terrorists. What did you expect would happen?